All right, everyone, we have a bunch of news to bring you today, including some brand new rumors surrounding one of the biggest games coming to Nintendo Switch 2 next year. And yes, it's an exclusive. And no, we have not talked about this game enough. People always talk about how, hey, Nintendo doesn't really have any of their big selling games announced right now, right? No 3D Mario, no 3D Zelda, no Animal Crossing, no Gen 10 Pokemon. But that means you're dismissing something that was maybe one of the largest announcements for Switch 2 this year. And at least based on the people making the damn thing, you should be excited. And you should be excited to a level that you have seen with some of their prior games. More than that, we have some stuff out here about an upcoming game as well from a third-party studio and just so much more, including, unfortunately, some MicroSD Express shortages. I know no one likes to hear that kind of stuff, but there's been a lot of memory shortages lately, and it is starting to hit the MicroSD Express supply chain, and that sucks. That being said, folks, let's talk about today's sponsor. So Satisfy has just kicked off their Black Friday deal, 25% off site-wide on various products here, including the Zen Grip 2 Midnight Black for your Nintendo Switch 2. I actually have it on my Switch 2 right here. This is the one that comes with the grip in case. I'll just show you guys what this looks like and feels like here. What's really cool about this particular grip, as you guys are probably used to what Satisfy actually looks like, is this one is dockable. So I have the Switch 2 dock here. You put it in like that, boom, it docks. You don't have to take this grip off. That's going to be a selling point for many people. I just want to note that the Black Friday deals have begun, and the new Zen Grip 2 is fully in stock and on sale right now. Let me go ahead and grab the box here and show you one more time so you know what you're looking at on the actual website for the Zen Grip 2. They've opened up pre-orders for a new hardcover as well. So if you don't want to have this bulkier case, they have a hardcover they're releasing as well. You can get your pre-orders in for that. The hardcover will have a protective hard shell that basically works with the Zen Grip 2 to protect your Switch with a slim form factor. It works with the Zen Grip 2 to provide 360 degrees of protection for your Switch 2 with a full front face coverage. Now, I don't have one on hand to show you guys, but you can imagine that it's basically a cover that goes over the top here. We'll show pictures of it from their website. All right, you can also store 4 game cartridges inside of the hard shell. And yes, it does include flush clips, which are basically here by popular demand. There are dual purpose TPE Zen Grip 2 slot covers, joystick retention clips, conceals the game storage and all of that jazz. Again, go ahead and check out the Zen Grip 2 Midnight Black Edition and other versions of the Zen Grip 2 as well. So their hardcover and everything else. Again, their Black Friday sales going on right now. 25% off your order. And shout out to Satisfy and the Zen Grip 2 for sponsoring this video. All right, before we dive in, I just want to remind you quickly that we also have a giveaway going on for 3 copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. Link to our sponsor and to enter for that giveaway is down in the pinned comment or the description. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this first story here. And this first story deals with Stellar Blade. So Stellar Blade 2 looks to be multi-platform and original could come to more consoles. So Korean developer Shift Up is preparing the action-packed Stellar Blade 2 to be a multi-platform affair rather than tied to PS5 like the original one was at launch. This news comes from Insider Gaming, who looked at various recruitment posts for Stellar Blade 2 along with the developer stating that they want to bring it to more platforms than the original. Insider Gaming also states the original Stellar Blade could eventually come to the Switch 2 and Xbox Series X and S. This just makes a lot of sense. We're starting to leave the realm of these exclusive games, and I think it's just noteworthy that when you start to leave the realm of third-party games being exclusive, that you start to enter the realm of, well, okay, so what's the point of these exclusive deals anyways? Because we have news on one of them. Yes, folks, the game we're talking about that more people should be hyped for is, of course, a game by From Software called Duskbloods. And we have a report coming from a very reliable Chinese journalist who was on top of a bunch of Elden Ring leaks over the years. And the way that he's talking about this, the way it sounds like they are approaching game development on this game, folks, if you like Elden Ring, if you like, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, you should be excited for this one. not running away because it's like a PvE, PvP kind of game. Here we go. Let's dive in. So the Duskbloods. Chinese journalist claims that the Duskbloods development focused on several gameplay prototypes. All right, as we go down here, let's just read this. A new video about From Software projects has compiled recent information regarding the Duskbloods, a multiplayer game in development for the upcoming Switch 2. According to video published on YouTube channel by Ziostorm, the news comes mainly from a post by the Chinese game journalist Giwin and from previous interviews about the title. In the video, the creator explains that Giwin became known during the Elden Ring era for leaking information about the base game. Now the journalist has reportedly published an article commenting on the upcoming marketing steps for Elden Ring Night Reign: The Forsaken Hollows and subsequently what to expect in terms of the release of the Duskbloods. According to the translation presented in the video, the post suggests that the DLC campaign should be followed by news about the Switch 2 project. Here is what the Chinese journalist said. The next step for the Night Reign DLC should be the release of trailers for the 2 new characters, followed by the final launch trailer. After that, I hope it will finally be time for the Duskbloods to start receiving news. As far as I know, this project was approved even before the marketing period prior to the release of Sekiro, and it is the From Software title that has spent the most time dedicated purely to prototyping and gameplay validation among all its games so far. Although it's a PvPvE game, it apparently brings together many innovative elements that the team itself is quite proud of. Perhaps it will once again serve as an inspiration for many game developers, just as Sekiro did. Now, based on the quote above, the video highlights that the Duskbloods was internally approved even before the marketing period of the previous From Software title, Sekiro. Furthermore, according to the account attributed to Giwin, it is the studio that spent the most time exclusively dedicated to the creation and validation of gameplay prototypes, something unusual even for the developer's history. The content also highlights that although prescribed as a PvPvE game, the Duskbloods supposedly features several innovative ideas that the team is proud of. The journalist indicates that the project could serve as a reference for other developers. The video interprets this information as signs that the Switch 2 project would not just be a minor experiment, but more significant game from within From Software's catalog. This interpretation is based upon the prototyping time mentioned by the journalist and the fact that the development began much earlier compared to other marketing campaigns by the studio. Another point highlighted is the silence surrounding the Duskbloods since its first appearance in a Nintendo Direct. As the video reminds us, it is a game directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, and there has also been no new official information since the announcement. The hypothesis presented is that From Software and its partners may be waiting for the end of the Elden Ring Night Reign: The Forsaken Hollows campaign to then intensify the promotion for the Switch 2 title. In addition to Gibbons' post, the video recalls information previously revealed in previous interviews about the Duskbloods. The game is described as a PvPvE experience with multiple ways to win, going beyond the traditional battle royale structure. Among the elements mentioned are Nemesis system and contracts selected before matches, which would alter how players interact with each other during the game. According to the content presented, these systems indicate a commitment to a competitive and cooperative multiplayer format that differs from the most common models on the market. At one point, the video creator states that we may be seeing From Software invent a new style of multiplayer game, reinforcing the perception that the project is heavily focused on new gameplay design ideas. The Duskbloods is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive title released, or scheduled for release anyways, for 2026. Guys, look, my biggest takeaway when I see a story like this, and again, we don't know, this person's sources, and we're getting it like third and fourth party because it comes from China. But if there's any truth to this, and I believe there is, because I don't believe that the creator of this game, the man that is literally famous at From Software, he's the guy that you want him running your projects. Like, if you don't like Elden Ring Night Reign, well, he didn't run that project. Miyazaki had nothing to do with it. He did have a huge part with Elden Ring, a huge part with Dark Souls. This is the guy that you pay attention to over there. And my biggest takeaway is just, this is not a throwaway game. This is not toss Nintendo a bone. This is not a small investment. This game's probably been in development, at least based on this report, since 2019. That's a 6-7 year development by the time it comes out. They probably put a AAA budget behind it. And on top of that, they're trying to invent something new, create a multiplayer experience that's never existed before. And that is exciting in that of itself. Think about it like when Splatoon dropped, right? For many people, the first time experiencing a multiplayer game like that, this seems to be in that ilk, obviously in a completely different art direction and style. I am excited to see what Duskbloods ends up becoming, because it sounds like Miyazaki and the team, they're trying to create something special here. And every time you hear about the magic inside From Software and how they're bringing their ideas to life, that's how you end up with masterpieces like Elden Ring, the Dark Souls series, Duskbloods, etc. All of these quotes we're hearing, all of these stories we're hearing sound very, very familiar to stuff we heard about Elden Ring, Duskbloods, and the rest. So I'm really excited for Duskbloods. I think that we just need to see more of it. I think them not showing more of it probably till next year is intentional. Maybe they reveal some at the Game Awards. It's always possible. But again, as they note, hey, the Night Ring advertising is still ongoing, and with the Night Ring advertising still ongoing, people just want to take their time here and advertise it when they're ready. All right, let's go ahead and get to this next bit of story. We got some updates on Metroid Prime 4. We're not going to go over everything. There's been so much over the last few days, but we'll go over a few environment screenshots here. And we're going over this one just to remind people, because quality mode for the game is 4K 60. Handheld is 1080p 60 HDR. This is for quality mode. And then if you go to performance mode and docked, you get 120 FPS at 1080p or 120 FPS at 720p in handheld. And just some environment screenshots. These were actually originally posted by Nintendo themselves. Nothing like too surprising here, other than just, hey, look at these environments. Don't they look kind of cool? And yeah, those environments do look cool. I also wanted to tell everyone that there is a demo of Metroid Prime 4 out right now publicly. I don't really know how else to tell you other than it's out there. It's at the demo kiosk. Go give it a try if you want to play it. It is the same demo, by the way, as well, the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. So there you go. All right. Let's go ahead and get into our next post. We have another rumor. This one coming from a friend of the channel, was just recently on the podcast, Reese Riley, aka Kiwi Talks. And honestly, it's maybe one of the least surprising rumors out there. You can see it right away here. Doom the Dark Ages, right? I look forward to playing Doom the Dark Ages portably next year. I would love Samus Aran armor in the Switch 2 version, but Nintendo would probably never allow that, which is probably true. Anyways, you got Doom the Dark Ages here. And what I find interesting about this, are you confident they can get to 60 FPS? He personally thinks they'll only get to 40 FPS, but he doesn't know, obviously. But he doesn't talk about something else that he does know about if you actually go ahead and look at his responses. So let's click on him and go to his replies here. And you're going to see something in one of his responses that adds a little bit more. So, Reese, do you know anything about the Forza Horizon or Gears E-Day coming to Switch 2 in the future? Gears, yes, but Forza is a tricky one because of the need for analog triggers. So he's hearing about Gears E-Day coming as well. So there you go. Doom the Dark Ages, Gears E-Day. Are you guys excited? Obviously, more and more games from Microsoft Publishing are going to be on the way. Now we got to get to an unfortunate story happening this holidays. We've all, unless you've been living under a rock, I guess if you don't pay attention to the PC marketplace, RAM, memory, it's been skyrocketing, sometimes as much as 400% over what it was priced 3 months ago. Some of this is due to tariffs. A lot of this is due to supply constraints. A lot of this is due to the explosion of AI and not being able to keep up. That being said, it looks like MicroSD shortages could have a knock-on effect. So storage-hungry consumers in Japan have been jumping on available stocks for the super-fast MicroSD cards as an ongoing memory shortage continues across the computer industry with no signs of getting better. As reported by Tom's Hardware, a spiraling issue of rising costs and demand that far exceed availability means empty shelves and insane prices as regular consumers swoop on anything that's left over once large data centers and AI companies have bought up what they need. Oh, AI, is there anything you can't make worse? Speaking with IT Media, Tokyo-based vendor Tech House Toy said that the inventory had been badly affected. The larger versions of the popular series keep running out of stock. This might drag on for a while with all sizes of microSD cards from 256 up to 2 terabytes. Obviously, might start to make the jump in mass to the new improved microSD Express technology. It is what it is. Now, the technology used for microSD Express is currently not used in data centers. So, maybe you're going to start seeing a wider adoption of that since it's not quite as pipeline restrained, although stock of that and the higher versions has been in and out, as we know, since Switch 2's launch. So they've had a hard time keeping up with that. Last but not least, I just want to go over a quick story here for Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's going to be 62.765 gigabytes on Switch 2. Remember, it launches next month. On PlayStation 5, it's 102 gigabytes. Xbox is 133. Why there's such a big difference between Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 5, I have no idea. Just to be completely honest, the Switch 2 one is massively smaller than all of that by about half. So take that for what you will, guys. That's our news for today. I want to thank our sponsor again in Satisfy for sponsoring this video. I want to thank all you guys for watching. And as always, we'll catch you in the next video.